Oh, just some scary movie.
Like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
This is my boomstick. Here's Johnny.
I have to return some videotapes.
We'll tear your soul apart.
Hello and welcome to a paranormal episode of All Things Horror. I am your host Ben and I'm joined here with my co-host Matt. If you're new to the show, each week we choose a movie to break down and review. We give it our honest opinions and rate it from 1 to 10. We have a brief spoiler-free chat about the movie before we head into the plot and discuss our favourite and least favourite parts of the film. And if you stick around to the end, we finish off with some interesting trivia and a fun little horror game. This week we are discussing The Conjuring from 2013, and the synopsis goes as follows. Paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren are called to help a family that's being terrorized by a dark presence in their farmhouse. It's directed by James Wan. Main cast is Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga, Lily Taylor, and Ron Livingston. And a runtime of 1 hour and 52 minutes. And it's available to stream if you got it Now TV and Sky Movies. But I think you can rent it from pretty much anywhere. So yeah, Matt, welcome to the beginning of the Conjuring Universe.
Yeah, oh my word. I'm not able to dedicate the rest of my life to watch all of these films. There's like about 350 films.
Yeah, well, I mentioned it last week. I've been keen to introduce you to the CU. I don't know if they call it that. It's not the MCU.
Not the MCU, no.
I know it's not your kind of like go-to... I don't know, is it your go-to genre? You said it's not your specific timeline of horrors. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I don't know if I... See, the thing is, like, we talk about possession movies. Like, I love The Exorcist. That's, amazing. And I like... There's one that there's like a kind of Italian knockoff of it, Lisa and the Devil, which I really like. That's quite funny and crazy. But I'm not sure how I fall on this, because, like, the Amityville Horror didn't, like, instantly make me think this is amazing, and other ones that we've watched. Or maybe it's just the era and... Like, I'm not a massive James Wan fan. One fan. Like, Malignant, I really liked. Really enjoyed. Because it was sillier.
Yeah.
With him, I feel sometimes like there's a kind of weird... Almost like it's a fan... They're almost like they're fan films. Like, there's nothing overly shocking. There's nothing overly... I just can't work it out. I don't know what it is that like, I don't think they're bad. I don't think any of his films are bad. Like, I don't hate any of his films, but I'm not sure. Like, I just can't quite put my finger on what it is about his films that. Because we watched Insidious, didn't we?
Yeah. I think I've said it before. Like, every kind of if you're a good director. And I think he's a good director, but a good director for me is having that feel of watching a film and you know who that film's by just by watching it. Like John Carpenter. We've done loads of John Carpenters, but stuff like that. I can watch a James Wan film and I'll be like, oh yeah, this is very James Wan. I don't know what that is either. I don't know. It's just the feel of it. I don't know if it's the lighting or something like that. It's just all of his films have that certain James Wan-esque to it.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I know what you mean. And obviously some of the actors are in a few of his films, and there's often, like, paranormal investigators who are a bit quirky. not necessarily the main ones, but like the ones who always seem to come along and help, like Specs and then the guys in this one, and this one I think's got the best ensemble cast, like almost the best cast in any of the ones I've seen so far, because you've got like Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga, Ron Livingston, Lily Taylor. These are all really great actors. So like that elevated it for me from the start. I'm a big fan of Ron Livingston from Office Space and Band of Brothers, and Lily Taylor is great in a film that with River Phoenix called Dogfight. She's great in that. Patrick Wilson, obviously Watchmen, and the other films we've seen. One of my other favourite films. So there are a lot of these are in favourite films of mine, like Up in the Air. Vera Farmiga's in Up in the Air, which I think is a fantastic film. So like, there's a lot of good elements to it that I think, spoiler, I think it's better than Insidious. Like, I preferred it to Insidious.
Yeah.
Is that controversial, or do most people agree with that, do you think?
I reckon most people would agree with you. Yeah. I was just thinking about it, actually. We were talking about James Wan having that certain feel to his movies. I know this being, 2013? Yeah, around this time, jump scares, it peaked like immensely around this time. And I think James Wan is to blame for that. How do you feel on jump scares? Some people, it's a bit hit and miss. Some people say it's too much. Personally, I quite like it.
Yeah. I don't mind. I don't mind it as long as it's not like to replace story or to replace atmosphere or creativity. I think it's like seasoning, isn't it? Like a good 1 or 2 jump scares are really fun and make you laugh, and you know, if they catch you out, you feel a bit silly, and you look around to see if other people have noticed you've jumped, and it's a good fun thing. It's like a communal experience, but I guess it's a bit like swearing. Like people talk about swearing in conversation. It's like I think it's like great as seasoning, great add emphasis, but maybe not if that's all you do.
Yeah. Oh, this is hilarious, right? Because we've spoken about this a lot. Out of all the films we've done, we always talk about, you have that thing about if dogs die in movies. Or animals, mainly dogs, if they die. I'm not saying that's hilarious, I feel like that's but you found a website where it kind of pre-warns you if the dog dies beforehand. Yeah. I found a similar website for jump scares. Apparently there's a website called where'sthejump.com and it timestamps every jump scare in every movie.
That's crazy.
So if you don't like jump scares, that's the website for you.
Yeah, I don't mind them at all. I guess some people, if they have weak hearts and things, might want to know before they go to the cinema.
Yeah. I've left myself a little note here. Oh, apparently I need to make a correction. From last week when we was wrapping up the episode, I announced that this was going to be the film that we were covering. And then I named off a load of films that was within the Conjuring Universe, and I said The Curse of La Llorona was one of them, but apparently it's not. A lot of people assume that it is. Like literally everywhere. I could have sworn it was, and there is pictures. That picture I sent you, it was like a whole list of the Conjuring Universe, and that was in it. But yeah, even like, I know you haven't seen it, but even in the film, like it reprises roles, like characters from like Annabelle, and James Wan was involved with it. However, the director for that one was Michael Chavez, and he has come out and said that it's not a part of the series, and it's due to a presenter at a film festival who was misunderstood, and he announced that it was when it actually weren't.
Oh, right. So has somebody said this to you, or was it just something that you just caught yourself?
No, I just caught it myself. I was just gathering my notes, and I wanted to list off all the films that were in the Conjuring Universe, and I had that written down, and then according to Wikipedia, and then I found that article that the director says that it's not. So
how strange.
Yeah.
So there's enough in that universe anyway.
Yeah, well, what have we got? We've got, well, in chronological order. So at first it would start with The Nun.
Amityville in space.
Yeah. The Nun, that's supposed to be set in 1952. And then it goes on to Annabelle Creation, then The Nun 2. I don't think that's... Is that come out? I don't know. And then it's Annabelle, which is the prequel to this, and then it's obviously this one. Then Annabelle Comes Home, then The Conjuring 2, and then The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. So it's 8 films in total.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, that's a lot. I mean, how many of those have you seen?
I think I've seen all of them except for The Nun 2.
And how many of them would you say are very similar to each other? Like, obviously not necessarily the themes, but like, is there anything markedly different or creative approach to what they've done, or is it pretty much like something's in a house, we have to get it out of the house?
I think The Nun definitely kind of separates itself. Obviously, there's
I do want to see that. Actually.
Yeah, there's 3 Annabelle films, and I can't tell them apart. Like, I've probably seen them all like once or twice, but I am getting mixed up which is which, because obviously we see Annabelle in the beginning of this film, and I forgot that is the scene that's the beginning of the film. I was thinking of a part in Annabelle that was supposed to be the intro. So yeah, it was a surprise to me when I watched the intro to this one. they all muddle up.
Yeah, it seems confusing to me.
Yeah, I think this or The Conjuring 2 are my top favourites out of all of them. The Conjuring 2 was the Enfield hauntings. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Oh, in London?
Yeah,
London.
Yeah.
So, right, and is it the same people? They come over from America and...
Yeah, like all of them are basically cases of Ed and Lorraine Warren. Like, it may as well just be called the Warren Universe, because
Rabbit Warren.
Yeah, everything is just kind of like linked to them. Yeah, I didn't do a very good job of. I tried explaining it last week, and I'm not very good at explaining.
It doesn't sound like anybody would be, because it's unless it was James Wan, and even he's like, having to correct people at film festivals and stuff.
But they do kind of like, they do try and link into each other. Obviously, we see Annabelle in this one, and I think Annabelle, you see The Nun, so it kind of sets that movie up. So it's a bit like the MCU, how like they end the movie to start the next one, kind of thing.
The one CU.
Yeah, one CU.
So, like, I know you mentioned again about that website for the jump scares, and I said about the one for the dog. Like, every film we watch seems to have something terrible happen to an animal in it.
Yeah.
Poor Sadie. Sadie was trying to tell them, again, listen to your dogs.
Yeah.
Listen to them. They're telling you that people can't be trusted, that places are haunted, that you're going to have a bad time. No, people just go, no, suit yourself, stay outside.
Yeah.
Like, they don't listen to them. Absolute idiots. Deserve everything you get if you don't listen to your dog.
I mean, we did the Amityville Horror, about 3 episodes back? And I forgot how much this actually reminds me of that. Like, everything.
Yeah, so the dog in that one's the hero.
Yeah, they got the dog in that one. They got the little kid that has like an imaginary friend, and yeah. And I think
it's based on the same couple, isn't it? Is it not?
What's that?
No. It's based on the same paranormal investigators or not? No.
Yeah, well,
I just made that up in my head, I think.
No, they do. I think, if I remember rightly, the beginning of The Conjuring 2 is actually set in the Amityville house, because they did have something to do with that. They started investigating that.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, I didn't make that up then.
So they were linked
I had a feeling that.
Yeah. What do you reckon? I mean, you said you seem to quite like this film. Would you delve deeper and see where it goes?
I maybe watch the second one because of what you've said and the links to the Amityville Horror, and that's the one where they go to Enfield, isn't it? So that sounds interesting. The Nun I would probably watch, like out of choice, like I would watch those two. The rest of them probably not. Even if I was like, excuse me, even if I was getting, don't think I'll get that excited that I'd have to watch all of them, but I've always fancied seeing The Nun. So yeah, that would be one. I mean, this one particularly, it's like I say, is a very good cast. The story is pretty straightforward, much like the Amityville Horror. It's interesting that it's an R-rated. It was an R-rated in the US. There's no swearing, no overt bloody violence, and like there's no nudity. So like it's just the idea of it. Obviously there is violence. There's bumps and bruises and bites and rolling around on the floor and stuff, but nothing that you probably wouldn't see on a Saturday night on BBC One at 8:00 or something.
Yeah, I did make a note of that for my trivia. But yeah, you're right. There's no sex, no nudity, blood, gore, very little profanity. But yeah, it got an R rating. They did question it. What are they called? The MPAA. They asked for clarification. Why? Because they thought they were going to get a PG-13 rating, but they just said there's no way, that there's no cuts or edits possible that would make it a PG-13. So they didn't want to alter the film's tone or anything, so they just left it at an R rating.
Here's a question about that as well, because obviously there must be something about it that people thought, I don't. That there's something particularly scary about this film, or something that we need to protect people from, or give the right rating for. Do you think that it builds tension well? Do you think it kind of in the same way as, like, say, The Exorcist or these kind of films that maybe 20, 30 years before? Do you think that James Wan has that ability as a director to kind of build people's anxieties through the film?
I think so.
I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to it, so I'm only asking because I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think he does a brilliant job of creating tension. I mean, there was a couple of points in this film that I was prepared. Like, it made my hair on my arm stand up a little bit. I'm sure we'll get to it, but if I just say when the girl's looking under the bed and she sees a kind of figure behind the door, that bit, that scene, that kind of freaked me out. And you didn't even see anything. Like, nothing happened.
No. Do you think it that with that it's like classic filmmaking, almost like the Universal Monsters kind of thing, where they didn't have CGI and lots of effects and stuff, but they were able to kind of make you scared through tension and shadows and hiding things and things like that. Like, there's a kind of classic feel to it, quite simplistic.
That's probably why I like it so much.
Effective approach.
Yeah, that's probably why. Because, I mean, they didn't have a small budget. I mean, he'd done quite a few films by now, and this budget was 20 mil. But, yeah, I can't even tell you. Can you think of a moment in this film where they used CGI? It seemed to be all practical effects.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you're right. I mean, obviously, there will be somewhere, maybe some of the... there'll be some, but it'd be like things that maybe is good enough where it's not overtly like bright colours flashing in the sky and all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, but I think there will be some things. Like, there's things like where the girl gets pulled out of bed. I think as well. Do you think a lot of it, the reaction to it, is where and how you watch a film? So like, maybe James Wan films, you do have to, I know this sounds a bit crazy, but like if you're watching it at home, you do have to pay attention, because otherwise you're not going to get the full effect of the nervousness and the worry and stuff, because if you're looking at your phone, you're going to miss these things. Yeah,
that's why I love going to the cinema to see horror films, because it kind of forces you to pay attention. You know, you can't go on your phone, you can't be distracted. It's a massive screen, massive speakers. This is what's happening, so you're glued to it. But you're 100% right. You know, when you're watching it at home, you do get distracted. You know, the dog might make a noise, someone might call you, you know, and you're taken away from it. Or even if you just got the volume down, it's incredible how much the score for a movie can impact what it is you're watching.
Yeah, I used to go to the cinema so much, like at least once, twice a week, and when I lived closer to it, and the films that I see in the cinema, I do remember more than ones that I've only watched at home. On top of that, and when you think of that as well, like you can get a similar experience at home, but you do have to make an effort.
Yeah,
like you do have to force yourself to move things out of your eye line and focus, and like you say, put the volume up and sit in the right place and move books and magazines and phones and people out of the way and just
I think
really take it on board.
One that stands out to me was, I think I saw, I don't know if it's the first one, but I saw one of the Paranormal Activities in the cinema, and that was really scary in the cinema. And then I come out and I tell my friends about it. Oh, you've got to see this film, and they're like, okay, I'll wait until it comes out. And then they watch it at home on DVD and they're like, wasn't that scary? And I'm like, yeah, but you didn't watch it right. You know, you didn't have the lights off, you didn't have the sound up, you know.
Yeah, especially even if it's like sometimes nobody in the cinema. Or I went to see the last Scream film in Bowness and Windermere, and it's a tiny little cinema called the Royalty. And I was they only opened up the top bit, so I was kind of on a balcony, and I walked in and I sat down at the front. And about 5 minutes into the film, the only other person came to watch it was watching it, and it was like raining, and they just had like they were on. The best way to describe them is they were dressed like the main baddie in I Know What You Did Last Summer. So like a big jacket, and then just kind of stood there for a moment at the back, just kind of hunched over. Meanwhile, on screen, it's the beginning of Scream where there's the killing, you know, when there's the kind of shock killing at the beginning, and then it goes to the titles. And I was like, oh my, I'm going to die. I am going to die here. And needless to say, I remember everything about that film, and I actually quite enjoyed it. But maybe I was just literally sat there on edge all the way through it, thinking I was going to die.
Oh, shit.
So you're right, the way you watch them. I was just wondering whether I'm missing something with the James Wan films. Maybe my attention span isn't.
Yeah,
it doesn't match it. You know, you can watch a silly over the top film and not pay a massive amount of attention because you can hear the crazy stuff going on and look up. And whereas in this one, it's like it's a slow burn, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, we better head into the plot. We could probably talk about this all day. I will hit the spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning.
Alright, so this movie starts off in 1968, and Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are demonologists, are investigating Annabelle. Annabelle is a creepy fucking doll. Owners of the doll, Debbie and Camilla, explained that after they contacted a medium, they allowed the spirit, who claimed to be a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle Higgins, who died in the apartment, they allowed her to possess the doll for whatever reason. Things were getting weird and shit was going down, but they couldn't get rid of her. They tried many times, so they reached out to the Warrens. The Warrens then explained how the doll was never really possessed. It was a conduit for a demonic spirit that manipulated Debbie and Camilla so that it could eventually take over one of their bodies. Yeah, did you understand that? I don't think they've ever done that before in a movie.
No. There's things in this that I do like some of the touches that they do in it that I think are just unique enough to be different to other similar films. Obviously, it helps if they've got source material. I imagine that these two people wrote tons of books as well.
Yeah.
So they probably got loads of things ideas that they can use.
Yeah. What did you think of Annabelle, the famous Annabelle?
Honestly, absolutely nothing.
No.
Honestly, I was just like, no, yeah. That must be Annabelle. I mean, I guess she'll do a lot more in her own when she got her own film.
Well, she's got 3, so
yeah, she must do a lot more in the other films, I guess.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously these are all based on real occurrences, if you believe in that kind of stuff. But have you seen what the actual real Annabelle doll looks like?
No. Is it? I think is it just like a regular, what do you call it, Raggedy Ann doll kind of thing?
Yeah, it's a Raggedy Ann doll. Obviously, you see, like in this film, the Warrens have their own kind of, I don't know, it's like a little mini museum inside of their house, all full of haunted shit. But obviously, that's real, and it was open to the public. A few years ago, they closed it. But yeah, you could actually like go and check out all the stuff. I don't think you could touch them, but yeah, they actually had the real Annabelle doll locked up in the glass cabinet, just like how you say it in this film. But it is literally just a normal Raggedy Ann doll. I don't know which is more scary.
That'd be strange if it. Yeah, would it be more scary if that was the one that they used in all those films?
Yeah. But yeah, jump to 3 years later. In 1971, Roger and Carolyn Perron or Perron. I don't know if they actually say their last name in the film. I think it's Perron.
Yeah, I think that Perron. Yeah, or Perron. Yeah, maybe.
Perron.
Because I think they're like Latin American or South American based family from the pictures at the end.
Yeah.
But obviously they've used Lily Taylor and Ron Livingston.
Yeah.
The wigs are a little bit funny, really, aren't they? Particularly Ron Livingston's hair. It looks quite funny. It's like we're gonna get him looking like the 70s.
So we see those. They move into a farmhouse with 5 daughters: Andrea, Nancy, Christine, Cindy, and April. Their dog refuses to enter the house, and during a fun game of hide and clap, the kids discover a boarded-up entrance to a hidden cellar. Paranormal events occur within the first few nights, and every clock in the house stops at 3:07 a.m., and Carolyn keeps waking up with large bruises all over her body. Her and Christine both encounter a malevolent spirit, and the dog is found dead. Sorry, man.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Poor Sadie. Just listen to the... I mean, do we not learn anything from these films? Just listen to the dogs. Just leave. Just go.
Are you still sticking with your rule of any dog deaths reduces your rating by 0.5 point?
It's definitely... Yeah, in fact, I think it has in this, yeah. Yeah.
This is what I was on about earlier. That scene where the girl, I don't know which one it was, but one of the girls, it's the girl that kept having her leg pulled during the night. But she looks under the bed, and you can see like the bottom half of the door like slowly shut. And she looks up, and she can see like a... I mean, I don't think we see anything. I never saw anything, but it's like assumed a dark entity kind of behind the door. I think that was really well shot. I think it's better that we didn't see anything.
Yeah, like the whole stuff with the kids in the bedroom's quite good, because it's like, oh, you're farting, or oh, you're pulling my, oh, that's disgusting, oh, sudden, and then obviously we know straight away that something's not right here.
Yeah.
And they do that quite well. The pulling of the leg that's dead sudden, when she kind of realizes, it is a sort of moment that stands out for me. It's interesting as well, because obviously it's based on real people. I can't think of many films, like the Brady Bunch, where you've got such a massive family. In particular, all girls as well. Yeah.
Did you know? Oh, I don't suppose you would have known, but the real Lorraine Warren, she had a cameo in here.
Oh, right, okay.
It's the scene where the Warrens, they're doing their little presentation case in front of like a class.
Right.
And she was in the front row.
Oh, okay.
Like pans past her, yeah.
So when they're saying like, oh, we're kooks, or we're this, or we're that, they're kind of like doing it when she's there. Yeah.
I wonder how much she had involvement.
Yeah,
in
I mean,
this.
sometimes they bring these people on as like executive producers or consultants and stuff to kind of appease them and make them, because there's nothing worse, I guess, than making a film and then the person that the film's about is like, it's crap.
Yeah.
You want to kind of keep them sweet, don't you?
I mean, I'm assuming they've probably gone out and written some books about it. So I don't know. James Wan didn't write this, did he? I think it was someone else that wrote it.
Yeah. I don't think he did. No, I don't think he tends to write his, does he? Because there's different names attached to most of them.
Yeah. So what happens next? So Carolyn, she contacts the Warrens after a heavy night of fuckery.
Wow. Well, I must have missed that bit.
Lorraine, she sees a dark force that's latched onto the family.
Oh, shit! A ghost!
She explains that leaving the house won't do diddly squat, so they gather evidence by placing cameras and bells and lights around the house, and the help of assistant Drew Thomas and police officer Brad Hamilton. They found that the house once belonged to an accused witch named Bathsheba Sherman, who sacrificed her week-old baby to Satan and killed herself in 1863 at 3:07 a.m. after proclaiming her love for Satan and cursing all who take her land.
Well, she definitely had a name for it. It's like a strange old witchy name, isn't it?
Bathsheba.
Yeah, she's not called like Beryl.
So apparently, I looked into it. She's a real person. How true it is, I don't know. But apparently, the reasoning behind the whole 7-day thing, because God made creation in 7 days. So by Bathsheba killing her baby in 7 days, that's basically her saying that she can undo his creation in 7 days or something like that. Either way, it's fucked up.
Right. Some people had a lot of time on their hands back then.
Yeah. I did really like that scene when they go down into the basement. The bit where like all the bells and flashes are going off and they get the camera roll in and they go down and it kind of switches to a first person view, but like kind of through the lens of a 1970s handheld camera. And even like the microphone, like the old microphone, it sounded old as well. Mm-hmm. How did you think of that? That was pretty cool. Different.
Yeah, I like things because I quite like things like that. What's it called? I was going to call it Trash Hunters, but it's not called Trash Hunters. Where the two guys go around in a van and they look in people's sheds and like outhouses and things in America. Yeah. Like when they go down into here and he finds that room and it's full of all old stuff.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, I would quite like that. I quite like all that kind of stuff. Like I was quite excited to get up into my loft when I moved house, and I was quite excited to have a nosy around in the garage and in the shed and stuff.
And that's what he was like, wasn't it? Like Carolyn was like, oh, what a dump, and he's like, that's probably quite a bit of money's worth of stuff down here.
Men are like that though, aren't they? Yeah,
I think I would have been like that if I found like an old kind of grand piano. I was like, oh, money making.
Yeah. I would definitely. What is that called? That show? Oh my word! You know what I mean? He's called like Frank and something else.
I know
what
you mean.
Guy with a beard, and then there's the other guy, and I don't think they're friends now.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think there's a few shows like that, isn't it?
Yeah, and like then obviously they offer the person who has the house a bit of money for the thing, and like when he did that in this, I was like, when he was looking in the garage in the basement. I was like, yeah, I would do exactly the same thing.
When Carolyn is in her room, we see Bathsheba appear and fully possesses her. And later a spirit lures Cindy into the wardrobe, which reveals a secret passage. But when Lorraine enters, she falls through the floor and down to the cellar.
Oh no, I hope I don't fall. No.
An actual clip of Lorraine falling.
What is that from? That sounds familiar.
I don't know.
Sounds familiar.
She sees the spirit of a woman that Bathsheba possessed a long time ago and used to kill her child. Nancy is attacked on camera, so the Warrens conclude it's enough evidence to receive authorization from the Catholic Church to perform an exorcism, but Father Gordon explains that approval would have to come directly from the Vatican because the Perron family are not members of the Catholic Church.
Right.
Did they? Have we seen something that's done something like that before? It sounds familiar. Like a non-Catholic family then have to be approved by something. I don't know. Seems to be like everything Exorcist relating. You got to jump
the most
through
recent Exorcist one, where one of them is a lapsed Catholic and the other one is like not a Catholic but sort of Baptist. You know, the two girls in the Exorcist Believer.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, what about in the Amityville Horror when with the priest with the Rod Steiger's character? Because she talks to him a lot, but most of the film, the husband's.
Oh yeah.
he's got other things on his mind.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because he just kind of like goes along with it. I think she's all, I don't know, Catholic.
She's all Catholic.
She's all
Catholic.
The time. Yeah, I just want to mention the actress that plays Carolyn, Lily Taylor. I think she's probably the best actress or actor. She's the best person in this movie.
She's such a great actress, and she really takes brave choices in the films she makes. So you'll see her pop up in different things, and she's so good. Like the film I mentioned earlier on that she was in with River Phoenix that people might not remember is called Dogfight. It's all about her being not an attractive young woman, and he is like a bet. It's kind of like a serious She's All That, I guess. But it's such a tender and well-written film and such an incredibly active film. And like for me, River Phoenix is one of my favorite actors of all time, and she is just as good, and she's really tender and really, she brings something to everything she does. I really do appreciate Lily Taylor. I think she's underrated.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, to be honest, there's no bad acting at all, really, in this film.
No,
the
they're
kids,
all good.
Even the kids. But,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think she kind of stood out the most, especially later on when she goes all possessive. But yeah, I mean, for someone like acting possessed, it can go either way. I mean, it can either be very good, like it has now, but it could also be very bad. There's a lot of bad possession movies out there. But yeah, no, I think she was outstanding. I mean, she kind of played every emotion, really, and being possessed. Yeah, I can imagine that's not an easy thing to do. Oh yeah, one thing I've not mentioned as well yet is the score. It was Joseph Bishara. I think he's worked with James Wan on a lot of stuff. He did the score for Insidious as well. He's another person that kind of you know who it is off the bat. Kind of listen to it because he uses that very. I don't know. Can you call it orchestral? It's like screaming violins and loud bangs, and you know.
I think James Wan is very influenced by Hitchcock, and I think that's definitely noticed in the music. So whether they must have a very close relationship. He must kind of explain what it is he wants. And he gives it to them. So yeah, you're right though. I think that is again one of the hallmarks of his films.
Right, I think we're towards the end now. So the Perron family, I don't know what they're called. The family, they go to a motel. But Carolyn,
maybe I'm not sure actually. Maybe it is Perron or something like that.
Yeah. Like I said last week, I don't think we've done a single episode where I haven't butchered someone's name. So it's a running theme now.
I forget characters' names as well, so it's, even then.
So Carolyn takes Christine and April back to the house to kill them, but Ed and Lorraine arrive and stop her just in time. They tie Carolyn to a chair, and Ed attempts the exorcism himself. Although Carolyn escapes and attempts to kill April, but Lorraine is able to call to her by reminding her of a special memory, allowing Ed to complete the exorcism. They lift Bathsheba's curse and condemn her back to hell. Returning home, Ed adds the haunted music box to their room of cursed artifacts, and that as they leave, the music box starts playing on its own.
You know what, dude? I'm out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the movie. That is it. So, yeah, what do you think? Let's go straight to our ratings. See what you reckon it is out of 10. Let's go 1 to 10 cursed music boxes. What are you going to go for?
Okay, so I am giving it a solid 6. It's better than Insidious. I think it's a good ensemble cast. I think everything that's done well. It's definitely not a bad movie. There is nothing bad about it. It may be we talk about kind of the things that we're into and stuff like how I might be like support films like, I don't know, Halloween 3 or Chopping Mall and Reanimator and kind of films like that. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the other side of it, I like things like Hammer films and Exorcist. This is kind of just outside of my natural range of films. However, I am glad I'm getting to see it because there's no chance I would have watched it otherwise. The hair, I think, is quite funny in this. That's the only funny thing about it. The rest of it is really good because of the acting is so on point. Poor Sadie. We need to get out of this trope of dogs, dog trauma. Like it just feels a bit lazy. But then I guess it's because dogs are so smart and they know what's going on. They can sense it. So yeah, it's not up there with Malignant as my favourite of his films. Aquaman I quite enjoyed, I think. Obviously it's not horror. I've not seen Aquaman 2. I like the part in this that they can't leave, and they explain it. It's like if you left, it's like chewing gum on the shoe, and it kind of follows you. And I thought that's quite nice because often you're screaming just like leave. Yeah. But it's explained very well here. So yeah, so 6 out of 10 for me. 7.5 on IMDb I noticed, which is pretty amazing. Which might be his best rated film. So yeah.
Right. Well, you might be a bit shocked by mine because I'm actually going for an 8.
Oh, I'm not shocked. I think it's right over your street, isn't it?
It is. It is. I really like it. I forget which episode it was. It was right at the beginning of us doing this podcast. It might have been Insidious, actually, where I was talking about when people ask me, why do I like horrors? Like people that don't like horror films, they say, oh, what do you like horrors for? It's the thrill of being scared. I like that feeling of being scared. People just don't understand that. I don't know. It's like, I like being scared, and this is a film that...
It's better than roller coasters in my book.
Yeah.
Roller coasters, there's an actual genuine jeopardy that you could get decapitated or fall out. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like being in that moment where my hair is standing up and I'm actually genuinely low, and I'm ready for a jump scare. And this is exactly that kind of movie that does that. I mean, you go, not saying I don't like the old ones, but I do. I absolutely love Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Friday the 13th. But that's a different thing to this. This one, you genuinely get like kind of terror watching it. But yeah, I mean, it's a solid film. I think it's a great franchise. I will just say as well, you know, I'm giving this an 8 out of 10, but this is probably the highest I'm going to go in the Conjuring universe. If it was like Annabelle or something like that, I would imagine it would be a lower score.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with James Wan at all. I think he's great. I would say that this is probably the movie of his career that kind of stands out. I don't know if it elevated him higher, because obviously, like you said, he's gone on to do Aquaman. He's definitely one of those directors.
He's done Fast and Furious as well, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, he's definitely one of those directors that's kind of blown up now. I think he's like I don't know if it's too much to say this, but he's kind of like a modern day John Carpenter.
Well, he's done. I mean, if you think about it, like Saw is probably one of those films where it's made a ridiculous amount of money off a very tiny budget. It's made his name.
Yeah,
he's gone through it and done it again with this series of films.
Yeah,
and yeah, he's had mainstream success, and he's been in some of those other ones. I wouldn't say, do you know what? I wouldn't say Carpenter, but maybe similar in a sense to Spielberg.
Yeah. Yeah, you might be right.
But even then, I think that's like he's never made a movie as good as Jaws or E.T. or something. But what he has done in the modern day, he's done some pretty amazing things. Coming from Australia with his friend, made a unique film like Saw, which set the trend of horror. Set the trend of horror again. Would you say with this film?
Yeah. I mean,
not many people can do that.
I've described this film, for people that haven't seen this film, I've kind of described it as a modern day Amityville mixed with The Exorcist into one new age movie. But I would absolutely recommend it to anyone who's a fan of either of those, or even if you're not a fan of typical gory killing spree slasher horrors, and you just want a creepy movie that will make your heart rate increase. Oh yeah, I'd recommend it. So I'd give it 8 cursed music boxes out of 10.
Oh yeah, I only gave it 6 cursed music boxes, didn't I? I forgot to say the music boxes part.
I'm assuming that was 6.5 until the dog died, so it's 6 now.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you're right. You're doing yourself well.
Right, let's jump into some trivia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so 8 generations of family lived and died in that house before the Perrons moved in. Deaths included 2 suicides, a poisoning, the rape and murder of an 11-year-old girl, 2 drownings, and 4 men who froze to death. That's
like the worst. 12 Days of Christmas. It's like the worst one I've ever heard.
Most of the deaths occurred within the Arnold family, from which Bathsheba Sherman was descended from.
The Arnold family. Everybody's in my family. Shut up.
The real Lorraine Warren and Andrea Perron. Oh, okay. Well, I clearly wasn't paying attention when I asked you this earlier. They served as consultants to James Wan and the screenwriters. They both claim the movie is accurate and the real story of what happened to the Perrons during the 10 years they lived in the farmhouse. So there you go.
Right, so obviously, so it's not like just happened in a short space of time, and they've obviously squished it all in.
It didn't happen in 2 days. And Lorraine said it was 100% true, so it is.
That would explain how well they all got on, wouldn't it? And they were putting the washing out and cooking and having fun and getting on. If they were there months and months, rather than a few days, and it's like, you're my new mum now, and everybody's dead friendly.
This film not only marked the second time composer Joseph Bashara has scored James Wan's directed film, but it was the second time he played a demon figure for one. He played Bathsheba Sherman in this one, but he also played the lipstick-faced man in Insidious, which Patrick Wilson was also in. You remember
I
him?
remember that guy.
Lipstick-faced man.
Lipstick. It just makes me laugh because, like, when you were talking about lipstick, especially if you're a dog owner, it means something completely different.
Oh. Oh, okay. So
that's thrown you.
Yeah.
You can't get that. You can't get that out of your mind now. The lipstick face man.
Oh god. All right, moving on. Yeah, we already said about the rating. Yeah. Something I found quite interesting is if you tot up all the box office successes. I can't talk. If you tot up the total of the box office success throughout the whole franchise, it would be a combined total of $2.1 billion.
No, that's what I mean. Like, you know, Spielberg invented the blockbuster, and, you know, you could say that that's what James Wan's continued to do, hasn't he? He's the blockbuster person of the modern day, I guess, or one of them.
He is the blockbuster.
And also, they're not like, yeah, they're not like, they're original films as well. This is the thing. They're yes, they're franchises, but they're original films to start with. It's not like he's starting with a Marvel property or a famous book or something like that. They're all completely unique.
Yeah.
Like, fair play.
Right. Let's move into this week's game.
Play a game.
I think I got nearly all of them right last week except for one, so it can only be more of the same this week.
Oh, well, this one I've got more questions.
I'm more confident.
All right, let's see how well you are. This one I've made is called "What's That Quote?" I'm going to name a quote from any specific horror movie, and you got to try and guess what movie it is from. Some of these are really easy.
Things like "I am the Exorcist."
I am Bathsheba Sherman. All right, number one. Be afraid, be very afraid.
Be afraid, be very afraid. Is that? I should know that. Is that Alien? No, it's not Alien. Be afraid, be very afraid. No, that's In Space No One Can Hear You Scream. Be afraid, be very afraid. It's like the most famous. So it's a very, very famous horror film. And I've gone blank. Be afraid, be very afraid.
Damn.
I'm looking around my room. Be afraid, be very afraid. Be afraid, be very afraid. I don't know, I give up.
Oh, man. The first one.
Yeah,
Oh, that went on for a while. Yeah, that was our very first podcast episode.
Oh, The Fly?
Yeah. It's Gina Davis.
Oh, right. Okay. I mean, I knew it, and I'd heard it, and I've said it my entire life.
It's when
I just couldn't remember.
It's when what's his face goes out and tries to put that random girl through the pods, and she says, "No, I'm afraid," and he goes, "Don't be afraid." And then Gina steps in and she goes, "No, be afraid, be very afraid." Yeah, okay.
It sounds familiar now. Now you've told me the answer.
Yeah, okay, all right. Moving on.
It's a good start.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
We all go a little mad sometimes. We all go. See, I'm obviously not very good at remembering taglines from. Is it a quote or a tagline?
It's a quote. These are all quotes.
It's a quote. The characters have said.
Yeah.
In films. We all go a little mad sometimes. Falling down? No. We all go a little mad sometimes. The Shining.
No. That's it's from Psycho.
I'm not very confident now. Oh, Psycho, of course, yeah.
Psycho.
If he was like, I'm Norman Bates, I'm dressed as my mother, then I would have got it.
Okay, next one. I'm your number one fan.
Yeah, number one. Misery.
Yay!
I
You got one.
I got one right.
Next one. They're all gonna laugh at you.
They're all going to laugh at you. Is it Stephen King?
It is a Stephen King.
They're all going to laugh. Is it?
Oh, Matt.
I forgot.
It is Carey.
Oh, Carey. Okay, I haven't seen that for about 30 years.
Okay, let's get this one. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
Scream. In the hood. Scream in the hood. Scream in space.
Oh,
face.
I've got to sound posh for this one. I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner.
Oh, is it
Yeah, that one.
Silence of the Lambs?
Always on a roll.
There's not enough cannibal films, really, is there, for to kind of for it to be a different one?
Yeah,
that's
true.
that famous.
Yeah, Hannibal, Red Dragon, Hannibal Rises.
Manhunter.
Next up, they're here.
I see. I mean, this is the problem with this is it's the Wyatt family in wrestling as well. And then he blows the candle out, and then the music plays. So it's all I can think of is Bray Wyatt. Oh man, they're here. They're here. It's like a monster movie, isn't it? Kind of little creatures. No, I don't know. I've forgotten. Poltergeist. I don't know.
Yeah, it's Poltergeist.
Oh right, I said it. I did say it, and you booed me anyway.
Okay, all right, I'll give it to you because I hadn't told you.
No, I think I gave up, and then I said Poltergeist. So, I thought the little girl. It's the little girl, isn't it, who says it?
Yeah. Okay. No tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
Ooh, that sounds like something from Saw.
Is that what you're going with?
But yeah, I'm going with Saw.
You would be wrong. It was Hellraiser.
Oh, of course.
Suffering.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, poop.
I can't do this voice, but I'm going to give it a good try. Sometimes dead is better.
Oh, Pet Cemetery. We did that one.
Yay!
Herman Munster. It was Herman Munster who said that.
Yeah, it's the Munsters.
Yeah, it's Rob Zombie's The Munsters. Yeah.
Okay, this last one, I've got a sound clip of this quote because I love it so much. You ready?
Yeah.
Nobody stores cotton candy like this.
We've done this. Oh, is it? It's Killer Clowns from Outer Space, or whatever it's called, from Mars.
Yeah, I love
Is it Killer
that.
Clowns from Outer Space or Killer Clowns from Mars?
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Or am I thinking of Biker Mice? All right, I was thinking of Biker Mice from Mars.
Yeah.
Do you remember Biker Mice from Mars? No.
The kids show?
They're basically cartoon. They're basically biker mice from Mars. They're making a film of it. Ryan Reynolds is making a film of it.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
I think they're doing a lot of stuff like that. I heard that they're doing,
so.
What's the other one? I used to love it. Gargoyles.
Oh, okay. Gargoyles. Yeah, they're doing that. And the good thing about all this kind of stuff is there's so the quality seems to be getting better since the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So like the last Turtles one, which I've not seen, is supposed to be really good. So yeah, like animation style and everything, and the Batman Christmas one was quite interesting as well. So yeah, it's got nothing to do with horror, but it's all good.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, that's it. So let's just quickly wrap up. The next episode is going to be the winner of the poll pick, and that was Child's Play from 1988. So, yeah, we can finally get around to discussing Chucky.
Oh, that's good. I've seen such a strange... Like, I haven't seen all of them, but I've seen, like, almost like the odd numbers of the film. So, yeah, it'd be interesting. It's one that hasn't really ever grabbed my attention, but I am interested in watching it again. Yeah. So, and giving it another shot. Maybe I'll become a huge Chucky fan. Who knows?
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, that is everything. So, yeah, let's head out. If you have liked today's episode and want to hear more, then go ahead and give us a follow on wherever you're listening from. You can also like us on Facebook, as that's where we do our themed poll pick every month, where you get to choose and vote for what we do next. Feel free to leave us a comment or send us a message, or you can email us at allthingshorror666@gmail.com. Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Here's my boomstick.